Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to discuss human nature. Human nature might be the most important topic for you to understand, and this might be the most important video that I ever make. A lot of the ideas that I focus on in further videos will all be based off of this fundamental nature of who we are as people. So what exactly is human nature? Human nature is the specific configuration of our brains, the wiring of our nervous system, and the specific emotions that have been passed down over millions of years. All of these collective forces together is our human nature. And it's important for me to start off by explaining the fundamental laws that impact our nature. And when I say laws, what I mean is that under certain circumstances, your actions and your behavior can be very predictable. So the first fundamental law to understand is that you are incredibly irrational. Incredibly irrational. So much of our behavior is at an unconscious level that we're not even aware of. Our habits, our thoughts, our emotions, and we see them in the present moment and we attach them to our own identities, not really sure where they're coming from. Think of an emotion like anger. We get angry at people and events without really understanding where it came from. It could have been from our childhood or decades ago and passed down through our DNA. So it's important to understand this. Now you may say to yourself, no, I'm a very rational person. I think logically. And by not coming to terms with your own irrationality, you're making it impossible for you to ever gain true rationality. Rationality is not something that you are born with. We are born as animals. To become human is a process that requires effort and practice. And what exactly is this irrationality that I'm speaking of? It's the idea that so much of our actions and our thoughts are colored by our emotions. Think of all the times we rush into a decision without actually thinking about the consequences and the full effects that it had. We've all made this mistake, myself included. I am no saint. So it's important to understand that we are all irrational. Next, I want to point out, just understand this fundamental view. It's that you have very limited understanding of yourself and the people around you. We are all acting, we are all playing roles in this game of society. And you may say instantly that I am taking a very cynical view of people in the world, but what I'm trying to show you is what reality really is. Think about a time that a colleague or a friend or someone that you worked with acted out of character. Maybe they're such a nice person, and in one instance, their emotions got triggered and they became this horrible, mean person. And you might think to yourself, oh, they're not like that. It was just out of character for them. Maybe I'm describing you right now. What I want to understand is that this specific event, whether it was for your friend or whether it was for you, it wasn't something that was out of character. It was more of your true character. We hide and repress certain attributes of our character based off of society's expectations of being a good and moral person. But by hiding these certain traits, a shadow is formed, a dark side. And I'm not talking about Star Wars, I'm talking about Carl Jungian philosophy. The dark side is certain emotions and behaviors that are repressed at a very early age, and they come out at certain extreme moments, such as anger, aggressiveness, envy, jealousy. We don't really see it as being part of ourselves because we hold a certain ideal and identity in our minds of who we actually are. What I'm trying to tell you is that that ideal, that version, that fiction of your mind is an illusion. It's important to understand that we are all incredibly narcissistic. Now, there are different levels of it, but we all have certain tendencies for narcissism. We are all wrapped into our own minds, not really paying attention to the thoughts and emotions of other people. Now, as a social animal, our empathy is one of our greatest skills. It's one of our greatest attributes. We are able to enter the mind of another person. Neuroscientists have recently discovered that mirror neurons exist. Now, what exactly is mirror neurons? Mirror neurons can be explained like this. Imagine a tennis player who is getting ready to swing the ball with his racket. While he is getting ready to perform that action, there are certain neurons firing that allows him to perform this action. Now, imagine yourself being someone watching in the stands, this tennis player swing his racket. In your own brain are the same exact mirror neurons firing and making you visualize yourself actually being on the court. Now we can apply this thinking and this idea to everything. It's how we are able to learn so quickly, through repetition and by watching others. It's not by reading books and learning from words. We actually have to practice and have these neurons that are so plastic become formalized and cemented in our brains. Now, because of this level of empathy, we have the ability to get out of our own heads. And this is the solution to narcissism. We are so stuck in our own minds. We forget about people and their own complexities. But by getting into someone's own mind, We forget about ourselves, and we have an ego death for a moment or so. And we're also able to understand the world, the past behaviors of another person. We judge people so frequently. We call people evil or bad without understanding what goes on underneath the hood, you might say. Now you might think to yourself that we are so sophisticated and technologically advanced that we don't know how to deal with human nature and the emotions that have affected our ancestors thousands and millions of years ago. And this kind of thinking is incredibly dangerous. And by not coming to terms with your own human nature, you are playing with fire. You know, we see all these institutions around us, all this great technology, and we forget how primal we actually are. We think that we are descended from angels rather than primates. Just think about the permeability of our emotions and how social media has played this to such a great extent. We have group thinking, and you can find your own tribe and express emotions in a virtual echo chamber. And think about our need to compare. It's an important aspect of our evolutionary DNA and our evolutionary biology to compare information. But we use our brains to compare our wealth, our status, our fame to people on social media, and we forget that human nature is enthralled in all of this. By not coming to terms with human nature, you are dooming yourself to a life filled with helplessness and confusion. Hopefully by understanding these things, and I will definitely explain in future videos how you can go about dealing with certain emotions such as aggressiveness, how to deal with envy, how to deal with your own irrationality. But by first coming to terms with your own self-awareness, you're able to liberate yourself and no longer repeat the mistakes you made in the past. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up. That would mean a lot for my channel, and it allows the YouTube algorithm to share this to anyone else. And write down in the comments below what you found interesting about this video, and what else you want me to dive into specifically. Don't forget to subscribe as well, and as always, thank you.